Self-love is the best weapon I've ever wielded. Heavy check mark. Humans are social creatures. For our psyche to function properly, we must communicate with others, cooperate, and even gossip about events and people. Human intelligence evolved because of the expanding range of social connections. To keep in mind 100 individuals, each of whom needs a special approach in communication, one must have high emotional intelligence. For high emotional intelligence, relative to other animals, we have paid the price in emotional vulnerability to other individuals. Starting from the ground up, our attitude toward ourselves determines every other aspect of our lives. How we perceive ourselves and what attitude we are used to from others is reflected in everything from our careers and personal relationships to our physical and mental health. When we love and accept ourselves, we become stronger and more confident in our decisions. We stop seeking external approval and depending on the opinions of others. Instead, we trust our instincts and follow our goals, even if many people don't understand or support us. Loving ourselves is also a guarantee of our own happiness. When we learn to value ourselves and our accomplishments, we stop striving for the unsettled and constantly comparing ourselves to others. We begin to enjoy and appreciate every little victory along the way, making our lives more fulfilling and meaningful. When a person is loved and appreciated, they are bound to become courageous and confident, the best version of themselves. Worth letting go of a couple of unflattering comments or insults. As one's nature shrinks and becomes angry, one feels very different from when one was loved. But there is one important question: has the person himself changed? No. Then why do we react so strongly to boorish people? In the old and archaic scheme of things, the opinions of those around us are somehow more important to us than our own. Absurd, isn't it? But it's true. You can tell yourself 100 times how beautiful you are, but a stranger should say something about your nose or ears and it will be a burden for the whole day. What's the problem? Lack of self-love, which we want to make up for at the expense of others. The less we love ourselves, the more we are hurt by barbs. There's only one way out: love yourself. It is impossible to make everyone love you, but if you love yourself, you don't care about the opinion of others. Such people shine, they can be seen from afar. Body armor or blanks. 2 ways to stand up to an aggressor. Heavy checkmark. There are 2 common options for defense against barbs, which I call body armor and blank bullets. Body armor represents a situation where a person puts on a mask and takes all bullets, that is, all criticisms and barbs directed at him or her. At first glance it seems that such a person does not react to all this, as if the barbs do not reach him. However, when he is alone with his thoughts, he feels as if he has been in a cesspool. Moreover, some barbs even turn into complexes in him, which can greatly affect his emotional state and self-esteem. The second option is the use of blank cartridges. In this case, when someone faces criticism or barbs, he immediately realizes that all this is not dangerous for him. He does not let it affect his thoughts and emotions, taking the barbs only as ordinary words or even ignoring them altogether. Body armor in this case is considered unnecessary, since all incoming barbs are not initially perceived as something dangerous. But what is the difference between a bulletproof vest and blank cartridges? People who wear body armor take every barb seriously. They let it pass through them, experiencing every word and mulling it over in their minds. They calm down only when they find a counterargument that allows them to reject the barb or justify themselves. In the case of blank cartridges, people don't take barbs seriously, so they have no need to find counterarguments or justifications. They simply do not allow barbs to reach them, ignoring them or treating them as mere words. The choice between using body armor and blank ammunition depends on each person and their individual characteristics. Some people may benefit from being able to recognize and work through each barb to find inner balance. Others may find it easier and more effective to simply ignore these barbs and not allow them to negatively affect their emotional state. Whether it's body armor or blank ammunition, the most important thing is to find our own protection from barbs, which will make us stronger and more confident. By wearing body armor, it's like you're saying you have something to be afraid of. People around you just want to see a target. Don't give them that joy. If someone calls them a loser, they try it on themselves and come to balance only when they find a soothing counterargument for themselves or make a barb about the other. It's a perpetual game of cat and mouse. The emotional state of such people is unstable. Those who perceive any barbs not as projectiles to be defended against, but as blanks, literally disarm every word of the opponent. The task of boorish people is to get emotions, to hit the heart, and for this purpose it is necessary for a person to try on the role of, for example, loser, or to imagine that his wife goes to another. He becomes offended and unpleasant. The goal of boorish people is achieved, the opponent is defeated. But if a person does not think about the barbs in his direction and does not let them in, it is impossible to hurt him. Then the aggressor, who tries to hurt the victim, without success, starts to suffer. Why are insults an emotional flop? Heavy check mark. Throughout human history, emotions have played and continue to play an important role in our lives. We exist not only as sentient beings, but also as animals with instincts that influence our behavior. Our brains are programmed to survive, to fulfill basic needs, eating, sleeping, reproduction, aggression and self-defense. When our emotions overcome reason, we may act impulsively, sometimes thoughtlessly, obeying our instincts. Our ancestors, primitive humans, expressed their emotions through physical actions. For example, if a person felt resentment towards another person, they would throw a spear at them to let off steam and express their resentment. In this way, they acted in accordance with their emotions. However, with the development of society, we learn to control our behavior and express our emotions differently. Instead of physical aggression, we began to use words, our artistic tool, speech. The spoken word can also be offensive and cause mental trauma, especially to vulnerable people. Insults are a blow to the ego. They can cause painful emotions and damage a person's psychological state. Nevertheless, at this stage in the development of our society, we can say that insults are a sign of a relatively advanced society that prefers foul language to the use of physical aggression. We have moved from sticks and spears to swearing and insults. It should be realized that insults are neither good nor bad in themselves. They merely serve as an expression of our emotions. At times when our emotions overwhelm us, they cloud our minds and cause us to say things we would not say if we were in a calmer state of mind. Remember that if a person calls you a fool when they are feeling bad, good or neutral, it is more a reflection of their own emotions rather than their true opinion of you. Our emotional state can greatly influence how we see and perceive those around us. Because we have learned to express our emotions through words rather than using physical force, we have been able to create a civilized society. This is a huge step forward from ancient times, when books and thoughts could seem as much a terror to the dominant powers as weapons. As a professional writer, I feel grateful that in our world books and thought are valued, can be challenged and debated, but no longer resort to violence. This proves that we are moving forward by emphasizing intelligent communication, understanding, and culture.